Okay, can you see my
Yes,
screen?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, I can see.
So basically, we have a web application which is built on ReactJs, and there are two parts. One is the API part, which is built on NodeJs,
Okay.
and there is another part called as web, which is built on ReactJs. Okay, so basically, this is front end and this is backend. Okay, so
Okay.
if we go to our web application, so web, and then SRC, this is the source folder, and there are like a lot of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what first we have to do to run this application, we have to do two things. One is we have to go here
Start
in the
server.
API folder
Mm-hmm.
and run npm install. Okay, so what it does is, like, after you check out this code, right? So this is npm install will install all the dependent libraries. So whatever is
Mm-hmm.
mentioned in package.json, okay, so these are
Yes.
the dependencies which is used
Okay.
by API project. Okay, so for installing this libraries locally, we need to run the command npm install. Okay, so let's run it. So while it is running, we can run the same command for our web project. So web is also React.js, and it is also having a package.json file. Okay, so we have to open another terminal. So you can go to
Mm-hmm.
new terminal, and it will open another terminal. Okay, and then you have to type in npm install.
So why you are doing install? It's npm start for running the project, right?
Yeah, that's for running the project, but install is basically for,
It's only first time.
it's only first step. Yeah. So basically we have to go to this folder first. So cd web slash web. Okay. Here we have to make sure, like, wherever the package.json file
Yes.
is there, we have to go to that folder. So when I ran from accounting folder, it didn't work. So first I have to go to web and web folder, and then if I list it here, you can see the package.json file is here. Now when we run, it will work.
Start.
Install. First we have to install. This is one time activity. So
Okay.
whenever you check out this code, you have to run npm install. Okay, so there are two running, right? One is this one and one is this one. Okay, let it complete. Okay, अभी रिकॉर्डिंग पॉज कर दिए हैं, ठीक है,
अच्छा.
और जाके एक चीज करना है, भूल गए थे, वो कर लेते हैं. बेसिकली क्या है ना, यहाँ पे इसका जो कॉन्फ़िग है, इसमें मोंगोडीबी ये वाला दिया हुआ है, हमको डालना पड़ेगा दूसरा. दूसरा हमको कहाँ से मिलेगा? वो मिलेगा हमको यहाँ से. व्हाट्स कहाँ है, कहाँ है? Okay, so basically if you go and check, you can see that everything is installed. So whatever was the dependency has been already installed.
Okay.
And let's go to check this one as well. So API is also installed. Okay, and I updated connection string to match the database which currently I am using. So
Okay.
that's in our config.json file under API folder. Okay, so this might be different for you, right? Because
Okay.
you might be using some different server. All right.
Sure.
So next is we have to start this application. Okay, so let's first run it and see like what is there, and then I will go inside and tell you like how it is built. Okay.
Okay.
So npm start. So sorry. So for API we have to write nodemon server. Okay. So API is basically our server component which is written in Node.js. So for running our server component, we have to type nodemon server. Okay. some error is there. So basically the starting point is under API folder. So we have to cd API and then type nodebond server.
Okay.
So it's starting. Okay, cannot find module. Course.model. Okay, somewhere course.model is used, which we don't need. This entire thing we don't need actually. What do you think we need? Okay, so basically there was some problem because of some of the content which I didn't remove. So now I have removed. So now when I run node server, it should work.
Okay.
All right. So now it's saying server listening on port 4000. That means it's working. Okay. Now we have to go back to the other terminal,
Okay.
and here we have to start our web application. For web application, we have to type npm start. I throw some error again. But let's see.
What is the error coming?
It's still building. This is first time, right? So first time it takes more time to build. Okay, finally it's here, right? So basically we have two things here. So this is our home page dashboard where we are showing like what are the amount and receivable and payable, means like how much invoices are pending for payment and how many invoices are overdue, pending amount, other stats. Similarly payable, like how much invoice I have to pay and invoices overdue, and what is the average pending amount per invoice. Okay, so this is like just a dashboard, so you can have like multiple stats on your dashboard. Okay, so here like just a simple one we have. Then we have invoice receivable. So basically whenever you want to create any invoice, right? So basically you can create the invoice by uploading, or you can search the invoices. And this section basically it is for entering a new invoice, and the last section, this part, is for uh, whatever is the invoice which you already generated. Okay,
Yep.
so now like let's say why you want to
So is this
create a
so
new invoice.
is this front end calling details from the server that we run in Node.js?
That's right. So basically what will happen whenever, so let's say for example payable by, if you choose, this is coming from server.
Okay.
Okay, so it goes and check like and brings all the payable by all the companies. Okay, so basically company you can create here, right? Let's start with company creation first. So whenever you want to bill someone, you have to create the client,
Hmm.
right? So client can be a company or it can be any individual. Let's say for example it is a company. Okay, so then there will be something. So you see here, right? So these three data is all here. So let's say like we want to put one more client. One, two, three, four, five. Name is, let's say, my company.
एक
Email
मिनट
is
वीडियो वीडियो पॉज करो सर, एक मिनट.
company. All right. So we just quickly complete this form. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Fax number is the same. Other information not applicable. Address is uh, okay. Okay. And then when we click save, it will
Mm-hmm.
create the company. Okay. And the
Okay.
same company will be available here. Okay.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
now you see like how internally this code is working and what is the flow.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yes.
basically I have opened this project. So let's me first close it. I think, yeah, let's close it and then start from the beginning. Or it's just like you have to open a folder, file,
Mm-hmm.
open folder. Okay, and then
Yep.
you have this project right here, and then click here. Okay, and then
Okay.
select this folder, like root folder. So then you will get both API as well as, or you can create open two instances of Visual Studio and use one for API and one for, right. So I am
Okay.
doing in the same one.
Sure.
Okay, so here, and then just click on select folder and it will open your project. So
Yep.
when it open, you have to just go and create new terminal and run these two commands, right. And
Mm-hmm.
first you have to run npm install and then npm start, and for server component we have to run same thing like first is npm install and second is nodemon server. So
Okay.
nodemon is basically a API which is a
Mm-hmm.
node.js API which is used for running a server.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Okay.
now like let's go over like what we have here. Okay, so in API folder we have all the APIs, right. So which client is calling. So let's start with like the first entry point. Okay, so in here the entry
Mm-hmm.
point is public index.html. So this is the
Okay.
first file which is hit when you click, when you start your
But
application.
mm-hmm.
So this is the first file which is hit. Okay,
Okay.
and then here we have mentioned a div root.
Dividing.
Div id is root, right. So
Mm-hmm.
this will be the first uh, component that
Mm-hmm.
will be called by ReactJs, right. So ReactJs
Okay.
will internally call something,
Mm-hmm.
render the UI, and then push everything in this div. So whatever ReactJs produces, it will go
Mm-hmm.
and fit in this div. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So the next thing what application does is it calls the React.js file, which is here, index.js. This is
JS.
the first file which is called by index.html.
HTML. Okay.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then in index.js file, what we have? Let's see. Okay, so we are calling React APIs because these
Mm-hmm.
are
Yeah.
React
Libraries.
libraries, and
Mm-hmm.
then we have css file and app and service. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so react dom is used for rendering anything on
Okay.
html. Okay, so it has takes two parameters. First one is what you want to render,
Mm-hmm.
second is where you want to render, right. So as I
Mm-hmm.
mentioned earlier, right, like it was
Index.html. It
index.html,
had root.
and we have the
Root.
id as well. So
Yeah.
what this file will do is it will where did it go, index.html. So it will go and uh, render this component and push everything in this particular tab. Okay, or
Okay.
you can take any other element, you can take a span, you can take anything, right. But you need one element on your
Mm-hmm.
index.html where you are going to render the code generated by React. Okay,
Okay.
so now what is app? App is basically a component which we have created, and
Okay.
uh, so basically if we want to use any component, you should give something like this, right. App and then backslash and it should be within less than and greater than.
Yep. Yep. Mm.
Okay. And now, like if you see here, it says import app from dot app, right?
App.
Dot app means it should be in the same.
App.js.
See, it's here, app.js. All right. So in
Yep.
app.js, like we have a lot of things, right? So what we have is, let's go over it one by one. First thing which we have, okay. So basically, app.js is basically having one class called as app, which extend
Okay.
from component. Component is nothing but a React component. So if you see here, it is importing from React framework.
So it's by
Okay,
default, it's a system defined
system.
component.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So basically, if you want to build any React component, you have to extend from component. Okay,
Okay.
which you have to import as well. If you don't import, then it will not.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in when you declare a class, so there are multiple things like which you have to take care. One is like you have to have a constructor which will
Props.
take the properties. So basically you
Okay.
can define some properties whenever you want to use any component, you can pass some parameters, right? So for
Mm.
app component we are not passing any parameter. If you go back to uh, if you go back
Maybe open one index.js file
just
on the
stop
top
there.
and one more file open app.js.
Why it's closing, I don't know. Okay, so this if you see here, here we are not passing anything, but you can pass few parameters, right? So
Yes. Yeah.
that will be updated in prop. So we will see like we
Yep.
internally in app.js we have used
Mm-hmm.
multiple component where we'll pass the parameters.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
and then second thing is we should have, so these are all the other methods, but the most important method is render, right? So
Yes.
render method, what it does, whatever you are returning, whatever JSX you are returning. So basically, right? In React, everything is JSX, right? So
Yep.
JSX is nothing but a you can say a syntactic sugar for writing React component, right? So in React, you cannot use HTML directly. So what
Yes.
Microsoft has done, they created GSX, which can basically render to, which can basically represent any object. Okay, so React uses GSX. GSX is built by Microsoft. Okay, so
Okay.
it uses JSX as a framework for representing objects. Okay,
So
so it
what
is
I got to know from for JSX is like it's basically HTML HTML
it's
for
very close
JavaScript.
to HTML. It's very
Okay.
close to HTML, and everything is like kind of similar to HTML, but it has some change, like some differences, because
Okay.
you are trying to represent your object as an HTML. It's not other way around. Like it's not HTML and then you are doing something. It's like internally some object which will be rendered to HTML, right? So you want to write it as a HTML as well. So that's why JSX is there. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So what it is returning is a header, and then inside header we have a menu. So if we go back here, so we have this menu, right? So this menu is coming from this object. So in menu we have like different objects, dashboard, invoice, table, all those things. Clear? So
Okay.
how the menu
Okay.
is coming, it's very
Mm-hmm.
straightforward. And then for each menu, when you click, something has to
Mm-hmm.
happen, right?
Yes.
So what we have to do is we have to give a route name. Okay, so here we are
Okay.
giving a route home, and internally we
Mm-hmm.
have a route object where we define, okay, so for this route where should it go, right? Which
Oh,
component it should open, which page it
okay.
should go, okay,
Okay.
right? So that's why like every menu has a route
Hmm.
key. Okay,
Yep.
so if we see here there is something called nav routes, and that's in component nav routes and route. Okay, let's go
Okay.
and see there how the routes are defined. Okay,
Okay.
so we have to go in our src component and then nav roots and NodeJs. Okay, so
Okay.
this is our route. Okay,
Mm. Okay.
so if you see here, there are many things, right? Like which we are using. So how we are defining? So again, here also it is a render, right? So it is also a component, and it has also a render method, and then it returns something. Okay, so what it is returning?
Okay.
It's a uh, main router and then switch. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so router is here we are just specifying the history, like whatever history we want to maintain. Okay, and then we have a switch. In here we define like, okay, so if someone goes here and backslash companies, then where it should go? Okay, it should go
Mm.
to home. If someone types in like just like
KYC.
KYC, where it should go? So let's try it
Mm.
also. Let's say like I go here and KYC. Okay, so it will bring to KYC, right? So
Okay.
if I click,
Mm-hmm.
also same thing will happen. If I
Mm-hmm.
click on companies, it will.
Okay.
Okay, let's say like I click on KYC, I am reaching same page. If
Yes.
I just type in KYC,
Mm-hmm.
I will reach same page. Okay, clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Next one is our so this routing is clear, right? So how we are routing the pages?
And from where we are getting value for these, like you say, component equal to curly
Yeah,
braces
yeah,
and something, right?
yeah. So that's what we have it here, right? In app.js, we have this menu, right? Just
Okay.
a second. And then from here, it will pick automatically like whatever like object is there, it will automatically pick. Let me show you here now. JS. Okay, so here we are
So
defining the components, like which components to go, right? So we have already imported all the components. So here, this is where we define the components.
okay. So can you go in one of these components and show?
Yeah, yeah. Let's go. So let's say for company one, companies JS. Okay, and this is our component called companies, and it is also returning some object. So which method will return? It's called as
Export.
render method, right? Okay. So this is the render method, which is internally calling get template. Okay.
Okay.
So whatever get template is returning, same thing render is returning. Actually, we don't need it get template, but it's done, right? So
Mm.
inside get template we have like company, dev, and input boxes, and our data grid at the last. So this is our HTML table, like you see here, right? In companies, we have this table, right? That is coming
Okay.
from this table.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, and then whatever is this area, that's coming from here, and
Mm.
this. Okay,
Okay.
so any question on this, like how
Yeah. And
components are working, like, and
yeah. So
also
I got
find
the
data
idea.
from
I got the idea, like, from the UI perspective, how we are navigating one by one inside layers, like,
Mhm.
clickable links from one page to other page, and then defining when how other page will be, displaying that. So
Okay.
how that page will get data from database?
Yes, yes, let's go and check. So
Sure.
if we see here, okay, so when we render we get template, right? And template is, let's say, like we talk about this data is coming from server, right? Whenever we go to this page, it will go and pull
Hmm.
the data and show it here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go here and see, there will be some calls. Okay, thanks. This is table. Yeah, so this is like table, and then it's just the heading, whatever heading is here, that is coming from this place.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have something called in body this dot show companies.
Okay.
This method will basically return what needs to be displayed inside the body, means this area.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so now let's go to show companies, and in show companies we are having trtd and this
Row table
actions,
format.
right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so one html, and from where we are getting the data, company list dot map,
Map.
and then function, and then for each company list it is going to put the information, and this company
Okay.
list is coming from this dot state. Okay, so that means like when it is starting,
Mm-hmm.
it is bringing all the data. Okay, so when it is starting, right, so here it is get all. So when, okay, so basically when the component is mounted, it will call get all method. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
what get all method will do is it will uh, call company bal service. Company bal service is where in the business logic company bal, and then it will
Okay.
call get all. Okay, and then it is going to set the state to company list.
Okay.
Okay, so basically as I mentioned, right, we are using state for our state management. So whenever you want to set something, right, in your state, you will call this method this dot set state, and then you will give two parent things. One is like the key, what you want to set, and
Mm-hmm.
then the values. So this is the key, this is the value. So this is the value which is coming from our get all method.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's go to company bal method and see. So company bal service we have declared somewhere. Okay, let's see, it's here. So dot dot slash business logic company bal. Okay, so it will go here, go to company bal dot js, and then it will call this get all method. And in get all method, what we are doing nothing but just calling the API. Okay,
Okay.
return fetch, and then we are giving the URL slash company, and then options like we have the option of get, and then handle response, and handle response will get all the data, and it will return. Okay,
Okay.
so are you clear like how we are calling the services? These are
So
all the
how?
services which we have built in Node.js. Okay,
Okay. So how does it know like where this server is deployed and where to find
right. So
like.
basically for this one we have a config. So we have a config somewhere here. See, util config.js. Okay, so you have to go to utility and config.js, and then you can set which API your application is going to handle. It could be multiple,
Okay.
right? So here you can
Mm-hmm.
set all the APIs. Let's say like
API.
Excel API, and then there you can have API 2, which is
Mm-hmm.
calling some other thing, right?
Server. Yeah.
Whatever configuration you want to give for your root API, you can give
Mm-hmm.
here, right? And then for each object, so maybe like one object is using localhost 4000 and another object might be using 4001, because you might be having multiple services running, right? Maybe like
Yes.
if you have a microservice architecture, then you will
Yes.
have multiple services, and for each thing you will call a different API. So you can just configure all the APIs in config.json and then
Okay.
use wherever you want to. Let's say like for this company.val, we are using config.api URL. Or if you want to use the second one, you can just give second, right? Whatever.
Okay. Okay.
Or this config is coming from
Mm.
here. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So then what is the API? If you can go back to that page, val
Mhm,
company
mhm.
val.js. So slash like from API config.api URL, it will pick up the server address.
Yeah, it will.
Then
This is
company
like
is
this is basically the root API, and then within that there will be multiple APIs, right? So one
yes,
service will have multiple API, and you have to
yes,
call,
company one.
right? So this company one you want, right?
Okay. Hmm.
And then there is another API. See, company by
Yes.
name, right? So company will
Hmm.
return you all the objects, and then if you want any company by name, then you can
With
call this one.
parameter
Yeah, and then you have a company by ID. Then
ID.
you have company dot create. So this will
Yeah.
create a company, right? So
Yep. Yep.
when you submit, let's say for example,
Hmm.
here if you go back
Mm-hmm.
and companies company.js, and then you click on save, means you enter all the detail and you clicked on the save button, right?
Okay.
So save, save, save. Okay. So what is
Mm-hmm.
this doing is handles. Whenever you click on save button, it will call handle
Mm-hmm.
submit, right? So let's go to
Okay.
handle submit. Handle submit is equal to handle submit dot point. Okay, here it is. Okay, so then it is calling customer by service create or update, and then it is providing all the company detail. Okay, and then it's checking whether it's successful, or if there is any error it will basically log the error. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so internally it is calling company by service dot create or update. So in company by
Okay.
service, if we go to this method, it will call some other API. Okay, create or update, and then update or create. So let's go to update, for example. So if we want to update, then this API will be called. Okay, company and then company ID and request is put, and then this, right? And if you want to add, so if it is a add means create,
Mm-hmm.
we call in create method we are calling create.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
so understood, right? Like how it
Yes.
works.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So any other question you have?
So like, if you can now explain on the where and how the API company is running, and
No. Okay. So
it will
UI
become
side you
that
are
side.
clear, right?
Yeah, I think I'm clear on your side on how.
How the
Uh,
thing works, right?
yep.
So you
Yep.
can
Yep.
design your own UI now.
Yes.
Great, great, great. Okay, cool. So now the API side. So API is under API folder, and here we have like bunch of APIs. Let's say we
Mm-hmm.
talk about company API. So there are two things. One is company controller, and another one is service. Okay.
Okay.
So here is all the like services pertaining to companies. So what it will do is when we go to company uh, controller, so this is routing, like what all things it will have. Okay, so it
Mm-hmm.
needs company dot service, which is this one, and then create it will support. If you just give slash, then it will return you everything, and then if you
Okay.
create give name, then it will return by name, by ID, update. We saw all these things there, right? Which
Mm.
is useful.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and then basically here we are specifying, okay, someone call slash create, then create
Mm-hmm.
method should be called. So it will come here
Mm-hmm.
create company
Mm.
service dot create, and then whatever body is there, and then it will process. Okay,
Okay.
and company service is here, right? Company service,
Mm.
and which method is calling create. So it's here create, and then it's calling new company, and then company dot save, and then company dot
Okay.
save will basically is db dot company. So db dot company is model company model, and there must be one more thing. Exit. Okay, so it's help up. Yeah. db.js. Okay.
Okay.
So this will basically help for like all the uh, saving part to database. So this will save everything in database. Okay.
Okay. So this has a connection for MongoDB
Connection for
and
MongoDB. Yeah. So this will automatically like help you to save everything in database.
okay. What are these APIs like under single quotes? What are these means?
These are the model objects, right? So API models, API model. So this is our all our business models. Right? So this one, if you see, define collection scheme for company, right? And then Mongo's dot model. Basically, what it does is like maps your object to
Mm-hmm.
Mongo's model.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's pretty much like we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, server side anyway. Like you have to build on some other right platform, not Node.js, right? But Node.js is very simple. Like, you can see that like just 2 3 calls
Yes.
and work is done. I think like
Yeah.
Java also it will be similar.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yeah.
any
That's
other
fine.
question or should I stop?
Yeah. One question on the React side,
Mm-hmm.
React.js side.
Okay.
Um, yeah, like how, like I understood the flow, like how we can navigate from UI to different UI and then calling
Mm-hmm.
server behind those buttons or links. How we should more put the folder structure? Like, what is the logic behind these folder structure in a typical React project?
Yeah. So for that, like I would suggest to go over one of the video I have, okay, where I taught like how to build a new application. So when you
Yeah.
build a new application using
Mm-hmm.
npx, okay, so basically npx is a library
Yeah.
which help you to create a structure, a new
Mm-hmm.
structure for your React.js application, right?
Mm-hmm.
So using that API, you can basically create a new project, and that project will be in similar structure. So if you want, like I can show you how to do it. Yeah, collection. Yeah, so you have to follow these steps,
Okay.
and basically it will be done. Okay, so you have
Mm-hmm.
to call. You have to create it first. You have to create your folder where you want to create your project, and
Yes.
then run this command npx, and then create react app is the one of the parameter, and the second parameter is basically the name of your project. Okay, then it will
Okay.
automatically create the folder with the structure. Okay,
Okay.
so this you can follow, and then okay, and it will
Okay.
create in the similar structure, same structure
Okay.
basically as our project.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Anything else?
No, sir. I think that's pretty much covers uh, my questions on React. So
Great,
thanks
great.
a lot.
Thank you for your time. I'm stopping my recording. Okay, thank
All
you.
right, sir.